Hey guys, welcome to another motivational morning. Today we are looking at this idea of what pain has to do with our growth, what it has to do with progress, success. I mean, you guys have heard the saying before, no pain, no gain, right? But I think that we haven't adopted the mindset that it's supposed to actually hurt. It's supposed to actually be difficult. That's really what I'm talking about in order for there to be any true progress. Now, I'm not talking about masochism or those who enjoy the pain. As a matter of fact, it's not about enjoying the pain at all. So when I look at Romans 5 and it says in verse 3, it says, and not only that, but we also glory in our tribulations. This is the Apostle Paul talking here, knowing that tribulation, check out this chain reaction, produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And you wonder, like, is he rejoicing in the fact that the pain is actually happening, or the trials, tribulations, the test? Is he happy about the test itself? No, what he's saying is that we need to be not just content, but have joy in the actual process. Don't rejoice for the pain. Rejoice for the process that's happening. Tribulations, tests. From the test, it stretches, it forms, it creates, it molds your character. That character, sorry, not character first, perseverance. It gives you the stamina, right? So from that test, it helps to build that part of you, the ability to withstand hard things. And then you go from the perseverance to the character piece. In this chain reaction right here, I know that we shouldn't formalize everything that we see, especially in the word, but I just love this idea that your character is truly molded by the things that are difficult. Have you ever played a sport or were in competition in some form or fashion and you always won? You never knew what it was like to lose until you actually lost. How did that feel? How did it feel when you lost your first game? How did it feel when you lost your first boyfriend or girlfriend? Or how did it feel when you lost your first meatball? I'm thinking of like the old elementary school song, on top of spaghetti all covered with cheese. I lost my poor meatball when somebody sneezed. What did it feel like when you lost? So I say that because it's so interesting. So I didn't check out the devotional until later this morning, but the Bible app even has this idea of those who sow in tears will reap songs of joy. There's this paradigm, guys, of just what it's like, what it means to go through a process of pain. But at the end of it, not only is your character going to be molded into something that's special for God to use, but it's also this idea of hope. Why? So he says, because hope does not disappoint, because the love of God has been poured out in our hearts by the Holy Spirit who has given to us. That's cool. Maybe cool isn't the right word. It's amazing though, because of this idea that you're not just going through the pain for pain's sake. You're not even just winning for winning's sake. It's big. It has to be bigger than your business. It has to be bigger than school. And there's this idea, there's this reality that there is a greater hope of something that's going to come. That hope for us, for those of us who are believers, is Jesus. This is cool, right? So, anyway, I want to also uh, just throw this out to you. Inertia. How do you adopt this idea of moving forward? Think about inertia. In science, and I'm probably gonna mess this up, but in science, there's this idea that an object that's in motion stays in motion, an object that is still stays still, or at rest stays at rest. But it needs an actual force in order for it to move from one state, which is at rest, to another. And so that force that's necessary to move it, there is this friction, or there's this, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's called inertia in physics, where you need you need to apply something in order to move it forward. And that's in life, guys. Like, We are in an inertia state until there is some sort of force. I think what is the force equals mass times acceleration. So you need to have some sort of mass that's just sitting there. So let's say that's you, and you need some sort of accelerant that's going to push you into a direction, whether if it's forwards or backwards, upwards, downwards, whatever it is, inside, outside. And if we can adopt this mindset that everything in life has inertia, not just in physics, but everything, the work that you're trying to do, you procrastinate. I procrastinate because I don't want to overcome the hump, that initial difficult, oh my goodness, writer's block. Well, that's inertia, and so if we can just adopt the mindset that that is actually the reality of how things work, that takes a lot of, for some of us, pain. It's pain to move from a state of rest into a state of motion. That's probably the hugest pain that you're going to feel. Now, how do you overcome that? Okay, so burpees challenge happened today. I didn't tell you guys, but yesterday I hit 100. So now today is 101. Whoop whoop, right? It's cold. It's in the 40s down here in Miami. It's probably a little bit warmer now because the sun is out. But man, was it tough. Like but I didn't know this. Here's the thing. I didn't know how cold it was until after I was done. That's important. Like, I didn't make the situation that much more difficult by looking at the weather and seeing how frigid it was outside, and looking at all of the other details that's going to make the inertia psychologically harder to just overcome. Nah, I didn't do that. What I ended up doing was just getting up and doing it. There's some things that you can help to overcome by, if you just decide, I'm just going to get up and do it. Don't try to research the situation. Sometimes you assessing, you do too much, and you make the inertia, you make the hard thing that's going to be difficult, it's probably going to be painful, you make it bigger than it really is. Okay. So sometimes you just got to get up and do it. I know that sounds like a simple example, but that's exactly what it is. It's a simple example. You are supposed to, especially in the mornings, keep things as simple as possible. You don't want to complicate. The morning, your day is already going to be complicated. Don't overcomplicate it by doing all of these other things, and all of this other work and research and assessments. And there's a time for that. The research and the assessment that you really want to do should be about you. Center yourself, not everything else that's going on around you, and quite frankly, not even the weather, until it's time to, you know, get ready, or plan that the day before, right? So anyway, I just hope that you will take that into consideration, to know that it's supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be difficult, guys. And it's not going to get any easier. For those of you that are looking for very particular goals to be met next year, 2021 is not going to be easier. What does that mean? I'm not talking about COVID-19, or I'm not talking about deaths. I'm not talking about, what I'm saying is that if you still have a goal that hasn't been met yet, it's going to be met with resistance. And the greatest resistance is not going to be from the outside. We know this. This sounds so simple. It sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. It's going to be from the inside. It's going to be from you. You are going to be your greatest inertia. And if you can push yourself from a state of rest into a state of motion and keep the momentum going, it doesn't take much. You don't have to do a lot all at once. You just got to take your time, one burpee at a time. You will then get to day 101, and you'll be able to say, I can do 60 daily and just not break a sweat. Okay, so I did break a sweat, but you guys get the point. Okay, have a great morning, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.